Hey y'all, it is December 1st, 2021, and I am out on Whitaker Bayou today. And I got myself a new little tripod so I can have a little conversation as we're canoeing back home. And I suppose I want to talk about the nature of abundance, the art of life, and what I'm doing to create my own art of life. Now, doing this whole video thing, I've done it before, and I gotta be honest, there's a part of me that is very reluctant to have this part of my life where I'm accountable, basically, to continue, putting out videos all the time and really being caught up in the things that are going on in my phone and all of that. And I kind of have a love-hate relationship with social media, even the media giants like YouTube and all that. So that's a little bit of a challenge. But I also realize that we are at this point in life where we have this great capacity to communicate, and I know that for me, especially being in this time of cancel culture, I have to look at myself and say, okay, how am I contributing to that? And as we hear these bad things about Facebook, and there are certainly selfish intentions in there, as well as with these other corporate giants and stuff, I'll be the first one to be reticent to trust these great corporations because their motives are merely profit, and they don't have a lot of foresight or vision for what the future is really going to account for. They just look at what can they do now to get the most money, and I've never been a really strong advocate for that type of living. So considering that 10 years ago I was living without money for a year and seeking out some way to exist in the world that wasn't so dependent upon that way of accounting for value and wealth and worth, of just having this number continually grow and grow and grow. Because I have to look at the bigger picture of the world and see that, especially we as a country, we just look at this GDP, the gross domestic product, and all the things that we make and do that create more flow of money. And a lot of those times, a lot of those things are disasters, and as long as a hurricane or a tidal wave contributes to the GDP, hey, it's a great thing, because all we're looking at is how do we get that money to grow? And that seems to be really unhealthy for us as a planet and for us as individuals. And I've chastised myself for this a lot, because I have often not allowed money to flow into my life because I wanted to value more life without it. And I'm at the point now where I value the life that I have so much that, I've been open to that flow. And that's allowed me to do a lot more things, and I see it allowing me to do more things in the future. But if any of you all have listened to me before, you may know I have this idea, this vision called ABC Squared Economics. And I see it as the way we're going in the future, because I see us with this capacity right now to use technologies we have, including all this blockchain and cryptocurrencies and stuff, to not only say, hey, we can exchange energy, but we can also direct it in a way that it affects the areas of our life that really matter to us. And I think that America has done a grand job of offering us a first step toward what would be considered a democracy. And I think that we have some democratic activities that have been able to include a good portion of the population. But I think that the government we have is a republic, and it is not a democracy. And I think that we still have the capacity, especially considering that we have technological advancements that weren't even dreamed of in 1776. I think we have the capacity to continue moving toward a democracy. And so, in my art of living, I don't want to contribute to the things that I don't support, that I think are bad. And I love America and where she stands in her place in history, but I think this idea of just bowing down to its government knowing how corrupt it is, knowing how ineffective it is, and knowing that it caters to this idea of just endless economic growth as the key goal. That just seems foolish to me. And the relationship I have with my creator, just blindly supporting that is I think, kind of a slap in the face, because there's so much more that we can do. So even though my ideas have been technological in large part, of saying how do we contribute to the artistry of our lives, to the business of providing service to other people, to the engagement of our citizenry and participating in the world around us, and the sharing of our charity and the development of our community. That's ABC Squared Economics: artistry, business, citizenry, and community, basically in a nutshell. And while I can totally see and have been manually dividing my money up to address those facets of my life for the last several years as I started using money again, I think that it still goes even deeper than that, because any digital click is just a representation of what we see in the real life. And ultimately, it is going to be about teaching people and guiding people toward really becoming the artists of their lives, providing service through their business, being engaged in the world through their citizenry, and participating and engaging and developing their communities, where we can realize ourselves in the abundant world we're actually living in, where we don't have to just cater to manufactured scarcity and fabricated problems that you see in the market economy, where everything is just a commodity, it's just a number. And life is so much more than that, and we are so much more than that. So while I still want to put this vision out to move forward technologically and how we can do that by channeling our funds through our various transactions, these microtransactions, so to speak, I also am really interested in teaching people how to live their best lives, and that's largely me doing it myself every day. And so for me, I've just been really grateful lately. And because it's December 1st, technically this is still autumn or fall. And so this is still a time of reaping the harvest and appreciating what we have. And in my life, as the artist of my life, I'm have a lot of creative outlets. And, currently I'm playing with a band, and we've been rehearsing, and we have some gigs set up, and I'm out there booking more. The Steve McAlphabet and the Wandering Soul Band is coming together really, really amazingly, and it's something that I've been dreaming of for a long time, and that's finally reaching fruition, and I'm excited about that. And I also do Pay What You Want poetry, and I've been doing that, where I'll go to festivals or events with my typewriter, and I have smaller sheets of paper, and people come up and tell me what they want the poem to be about, if they want a rhyming poem or a free verse, and I ask them a few more questions to kind of get in their heads and in their souls a little bit, and then I write out a poem. And that is one of those artistic things that touches on the other levels as well, as everything we do does, because we are all artists of our lives, we're all participating in businesses, we're all citizens, and we're all part of a community. And sometimes we focus our attention on that, and sometimes we let it slip by. But, and sometimes we play those roles more absolutely, So like, for instance, when I'm doing Pay What You Want poetry, when I'm writing the poem, I'm just completely in my artist role. And then with the Pay What You Want, they're going to eventually give me some money for it after they read it. And I do a Pay What You Want thing on a lot of things that I do because I can't quantify it. It's a lot of the things that I offer, like tours of Whitaker Bayou here, it's priceless. And so I don't want to limit myself by saying, okay, a poem is $10. When I know that a lot of the way that these poems kind of hit people, they're worth hundreds. I had a young lady a while ago trying to get through a breakup, and I listened to her and I wrote her a poem, and it was just this amazing therapeutic thing for her. And so on that level, I connect with community, and so my love is coming through my art. And the citizenry part, I guess it's just building up other people and getting them to realize how they exist in the world and how to move them forward on a better life. But the citizenry part of me right now is also looking at this area over here and this area over here, which is right behind me. We just went under 32nd Street. Over there is Central. And most of this property is owned by the city of Sarasota. So this is actually already considered to be, what is this place called? Riverwood? Maybe Riverwood? I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, it's a park over here, and there's river in the title. But there's no, tables over there. It's just listed as a park, but it's not really a park that people enjoy. So I've written a proposal that wants to turn all of this into Lewis Colson Park, so we can preserve a lot of these wonderful trees and also make this more accessible to the community while also honoring Sarasota's first black settler, Lewis Colson. So that's kind of the vision that I've put forward, and I'm talking with people now about how do we get that done, how do we make that happen. And it turns out they had, like 10 years ago, the Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, they had a proposal that was going to turn this area into some kind of watershed thing, and they were going to put like $500,000 into this, and that didn't happen. But I'm working to make it sell. So that's my part of my citizenry in that. And then my community part and the charity is often offering this to other people as well. And I do either pay what you want or pay it forward kind of thing. I'm not in this for the money. My life is more valuable than that. So this is just kind of one of those things that I offer. And so, also in my citizenry now, just yesterday, I did my first day as a substitute teacher for Sarasota County. And years ago, when I was a part-time performer at Disney and Universal, I also did substitute teaching in Orlando. And so I figured it was something that I could come back to. And this summer, as I was able to take this amazing 2-month, 18-state motorcycle tour, that was one of the things that occurred to me as I was thinking about returning to Sarasota and what I was going to do here, in addition to just doing my art. I think it's a great thing that you have a lot of artists who can make their living off of that, and just that, and they just show up and they are artists, and that's great. But when you do that, I see oftentimes you get these divas, basically, divas, and when that's all that they are, they're just appreciated for that, it's fine. But I think to be a balanced human being and not to be as self-centered and egocentric and egotistical as often you can get as an artist who is just an artist, you lose sight of some of the reality. And it does us all well to work a little bit in business, work a little bit in the real world, in the earth, get your hands dirty, and and also give back to the community and do something that maybe is kind of lesser than your grand scheme of just being a grand appreciated artist, but just being a decent human being. And so that's kind of also what I think we need to move toward. And I think maybe that's one of my reluctances for trying to be like an online celebrity or something like that, is that I still want to look at my day as how can I serve, and sometimes it's washing the dishes or something like that. I think those simple little things of giving back and serving other people are beautiful. And so I don't necessarily at this point in my life want to be just an artist all the time. I also want to be able to just be able to help kids learn and teach them how to learn a little bit. And that's kind of my way of giving back to my citizenry. And I see a time where, after having the IRS for the last 100 years taking our income and spending it however they want to, I see a time where we as citizens will be able to say, this is where I want my money to go. For me personally, most of what I do, I get paid for my time and my talent. And again, as much as I love America, the government didn't provide that for me, And frankly, the way they spend a lot of it, and because this whole thing is tied up in these two corporations, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, I just really don't feel like supporting that wholeheartedly. Now, to work with Sarasota County, it's a government job, and so I did have to sign a W-2, which allows them to take their money out. And I just kind of see it as the troll under the bridge. It's one of those things. Yeah, I they're going to take it. There's nothing I can do about it. I've been stolen from throughout my life, and that happens. But ideally, I'm going to look at the money that I make, and even money that I'm not giving over to the government, I still want to put that toward my citizenry, and still put that toward something that's going to benefit the world in which I live. And I just don't think that the U.S. government does that as well as they like us to think that they do. So I see a time when we can have a more active role in that, and so I'm just moving toward that time in my slow little way. And sometimes waiting for airplanes to pass. So now we're coming back into this little part of Whitaker Bayou, and we just passed Carl Abbott's house over there. He's an architect at the Sarasota School of Architecture, and that's his studio. So I waved to him on the way out. Anyway. Now, I think also in doing this whole ABC squared economics thing, getting it down to the individual level, really means looking at our emotional health, our mental health, our physical health, and our spiritual health. And I've, of course, had challenges with these in my life, as many people have. And lately, to kind of get more of that grounding, I've really been much more spiritually attuned. And one of the things that I've been doing to get to that point is reading A Course in Miracles on a daily basis. And for me, it's one of those things that to give you a quick summation of my religious background, I grew up in a Lutheran home, and so Christianity was just part of the thing. And then around 6th grade, I started going to a fundamental Evangelicals Baptist school, and really got indoctrinated into that. And so evangelical Christianity was a really big part of my life, but I was never really evangelical. I never really vibed with telling this story of how we were all damned to eternal damnation, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And there was finally a time in my 20s where I just really had to question it, and I kind of walked away from the Church of Christianity. Nevertheless, you know, at the time, I had a bumper sticker on my car that said, "Real men love Jesus," and I still do love Jesus. I think he's the most amazing hero that our civilization has ever known. And there are some who say that that's a whole manufactured story. It may never exist. And there's a lot of other things that say that that story has existed throughout multiple cultures. And for me, looking at every other spiritual teacher I've ever come across, even though I haven't really devoted myself to their teachings, the message of Jesus of forgiveness and loving the Lord your God, whatever that is to you, with all your heart, strength, mind, and spirit, and then loving your neighbors yourself, that's just through all of them. Anyone worth their salt anyway, and finding that love for one another. And for me, now going through this Course in Miracles thing again, because I've never made it all the way through before, it's kind of like this course is a primer on how you do that. How you do that, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, body, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And since Jesus said those are the best two commandments, word around the campfire is that this is Jesus channeling this book through this woman, starting back in the 60s. And it, kind of came into culmination the same time that I came into this world. So I have this connection with it. And today's message was that God speaks to me all through the day. And I think that's really true. And each of us has that still small voice where God is speaking to each of us all through the day. And I think it's a fundamental truth. And the more we can open up to that and realize that beyond all the religious dogma, the religious ideology, and the idolatry of their magic books and all of that, still, the creator of every single cell in your body, the energy that fuses all those cells together to make you what you are and give you this opportunity to live in the world, and it gives you every single breath you've ever had, which has allowed you to witness and participate in everything you've ever experienced. That energy is what I call God. Now, I know that a lot of religions have kind of co-opted that word, and for me it's been a hard road back to be able to even use that word. So sometimes I'll call it the divine, or the universe, or the allness of the all, or the isness of the is. Either way, I know fundamentally that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And I think it's important that we remind people of that. And so I guess that's my hope in my coming talks like this. And thank y'all, if y'all have stuck around and are actually still here, thank you. And I hope this gives you a better idea of where I'm coming from and what I'm doing moving forward, and that you will subscribe here if you want to. And I also have another YouTube channel just for music, at stevemc.xyz. So that's at Steve McAlphabet if you want to find that. And yeah, I'm just grateful for the life that I have, and I'm grateful to share it. So today I will be going out on another excursion to visit a lot of venues in the area, and I have a card with my band's logo on it, and I'm bona fide. And so I'm going to be going out and saying, you know, where can we play some music? Because we are ready, and it's going to sound good. So thank you for coming with me on this little tour of Whitaker Bayou. If you'd like to come witness the Bayou in person, I do, again, offer pay what you want excursions here. And just go to my website, look at my blog that says Experience Whitaker Bayou, and let me know what date works for you. So there you go, www.stevemc.xyz. Have a great day, and I will see you on the flip side.